Here's a good swerve that I'll just throw out there real quick. They could go one of two ways with this retirement thing with AJ, right? The whole year WWE, so he beats, he beats Gunther, and that's that. But then again, why did you do that? He loses, and he goes back to TNA where he started, which is technically a WWE partner. So he could still be involved with WWE, but he's in TNA where he started, and he goes out that way,
Well, he
right?
did make some appearances this year, or I'm sorry, last year already in
Yeah,
TNA. So
there
it's
you go.
always possible. I think that's beautiful. And that's why I like when some of these companies now they're starting to collab with each other, just
Good.
like bringing back the curtain with kayfabe. And we all know that Paul Heyman hates this show. He had a great
He's
story.
old
I'm not going
school.
to give it away, but he
He's
tells a
old.
great story. And I'd be old school too. I wouldn't like the fact that we're giving all of the secrets away of the business. But people like us that are still going to tune in every Monday and Friday, excuse me, used to be Thursday Night SmackDown, but Friday Night SmackDown and Monday Night Raw, we're going to still tune in and
And they know it.
we're still going to be involved in the storylines, and we're still going to be watching the moves like, oh damn, holy shit moment,
And if
like
they
we're
can
still
make
going to
a few
be
$1 million off
enjoying
of this, why not?
we're still going to be enjoying what we see. They're still going to be selling out crowds. They're going over to Saudi Arabia for Royal Rumble, and then next year they're going back there for WrestleMania, right? So, do you think Vegas is just going to be the overall hot spot for WrestleMania, or do you think they're going to keep going? Because this is the first time in my life as a wrestling fan that they went back to back WrestleManias at the same location. They're going to Allegiant Stadium,
Yeah,
obviously where the Las
yeah,
Vegas Raiders play for
right.
year two of
Because
night.
it did well. It
It
did
did
well.
great, and it's
Mr.
Vegas.
Olympia,
It's
the
Vegas.
Olympia, Mr. and Miss Olympia used to travel all around. I went to the one in '96. I had the honor of seeing that one. But when they at some point they got to Vegas, and now it's just a staple in Vegas. The Olympia is there every year because it draws like no other. So it could, but I think Saudi Arabia, they got a lot of money invested in. I've heard, you want to talk conspiracy. Here's a crazy rumor I heard. Saudi Arabia could make an offer and a pitch to buy
I've heard
WWE.
this, and this
And
is
then
something Endeavor and then
here's
we're talking about.
here's where Vince McMahon could come back then. Because Saudi would say,
For some odd reason, I feel that
because they
I
don't
think
care about our legal problems over here. That's not on them.
But well, you brought
And
Vince
let's
up.
face it.
I
Hey, let's
feel
face
Vince
it.
is coming back at some
How does
point.
Saudi Arabia, it's controversial, but how do the men treat the women over there?
Well, yeah, as you can tell,
So
the
do you
women
think
have
they're
to
going to
dress
really
up.
care about Vince's
No,
problem? No.
no. Vince
They're going to
had,
say, makes
the women over there they have to cover everything. They have to do a one piece suit, and I don't know. I'm on the fence about doing the Saudi Arabia thing. Like I like that they're traveling. I love when they go to Paris. I
a lot of
love when they go to
money,
Ireland. I love when they
a
go to
lot of money, man.
London. I love when they go, just when were they in Belfast? They were just in Belfast not too long ago.
So all over.
Brussels, all of them. I mean, they really weren't doing much of this when Vince was around. I mean, they had a couple international shows, including going to Canada. They were just in Montreal and Toronto and Toronto this past week. But this is how Netflix works, man. Like if you're like us as a podcast, we're back, right? That's on our cover thing. We are back, right? So we are about to advance and we're going to modernize our podcast and we're going to escalate our podcast to the next level. Okay. And this is what we're trying to accomplish too. This is why I'm going to end it like this. I feel with AJ Styles, they did the prototype with John Cena. We're doing prototypes. John Cena's prototype was, we'll call it an 8.2 out of 10 because the heel turn. But other than that, when he went back to babyface and then he apologized to that kid, remember that? Remember he apologized to that kid and got him back on camera? You know damn well John Cena felt bad for hurting them kids as a heel. You know he did. He was the number one, Make a Wish Foundation celebrity in the world. I mean,
It was too late in his career. Hogan did it at the
right.
right time in his
Hogan did it at
career.
the right time.
It
John
was like
Cena did it
half
at the
and
wrong
half.
time.
He reinvented himself.
And everyone makes mistakes. Like right now, we always try
They
to
tried
something
it
out,
with
right?
Stone Cold to turn him heel. That didn't work.
And even Stone Cold admitted he says bad timing. He got over with his badass attitude as a face, right? But he acted like a heel. But he was a face heel, and I think he
How about
changed.
Triple H was a heel and everybody hated him, but then they started liking him, and it
Well,
was
yeah,
hard for
because
him to
DX
main.
too. DX
Right,
was a
right,
huge thing for
right,
the Attitude Era.
right.
Without DX, there is no Attitude Era, and we'll get into that another day. But
Yeah,
with that said,
yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, we will be back soon with more real reels, and we'll have some podcast guests coming on.